the President of the United States.
Welcome back to Loose Talk. This week, Barack Obama gave his fourth and final first-term State of the Union address to the joint houses of Congress. But in reality, it was his first big opening speech of the 2012 general election. The public's attention has been riveted for the last few weeks on the Republican primary roller coaster from Iowa through to South Carolina last week and Florida next week. This was Barack Obama's first real opportunity in 2012 to recapture some of the public mindshare. And he left little doubt in his more than 1 hour address to Congress of his intended audience and his intended date in mind, namely the American public and the November election.
The state of our union is getting stronger, and we've come too far to turn back now.
Our question this week is whether Barack Obama's re-election prospects are beginning to look up. There are three reasons for thinking that they might well be. The first point going in the president's favor is that the economy does finally look to be slowly on the mend. Now, the pace of the recovery and the fact that unemployment is still likely to be above 7% in November does make Mr. Obama vulnerable to the question Ronald Reagan posed to Jimmy Carter in 1980. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? But things are going in the right direction, even if it looks tantalizingly slow from Mr. Obama's point of view.
Chrysler has grown faster in the U.S. than any major car company. Ford is investing billions in U.S. plants and factories. And together, the entire industry added nearly 160,000 jobs. We bet on American workers. We bet on American ingenuity. And tonight, the American auto industry is back.
The second point going in Obama's favor is that polls show that the kinds of issues that normally benefit Republicans in an election year, for example, fears about national security or illegal immigration, are very, very low down on the voter priority list in 2012. Overwhelmingly and above all else combined, the economy is what exercises voters. And when Mr. Obama in his speech on Tuesday night called out fairness as his principal campaign theme, and in particular that the very wealthy and the millionaires and above, such as Mitt Romney, should pay a higher share in taxes.
In fact, if you're earning $1 million a year, you shouldn't get special tax subsidies or deductions. On the other hand, if you make under $250,000 a year, like 98% of American families, your taxes shouldn't go up. You're the ones struggling with rising costs and stagnant wages.
The third point going in his favor is that the Republican field is in deep disarray. Whilst the president was setting out his vision for an America built to last on primetime TV on Tuesday night, the two Republican frontrunners, Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney, were busy slugging it out and tearing each other's characters down in Florida, which holds the fourth and by far the most important primary of the season next Tuesday. Now, the more that these two can slug it out, the more opportunity President Obama will have to keep the field clear to make his message to the American public. And I think that the State of the Union address on Tuesday was really his first big opening shot.
We can either settle for a country where a shrinking number of people do really well, while a growing number of Americans barely get by. Or we can restore an economy where everyone gets a fair shot and everyone does their fair share and everyone plays by the same set of rules.
You know, this may actually end up being an election about ideas in America, about the relationship between business and government, about the proper role for government, and about the future of American capitalism. And I think that's kind of encouraging. You know, a Romney-Obama debate, or even an Obama-Gingrich debate, is really going to focus on some core themes. Does government have a role to play? Should it be bailing out the auto industry? Should it be bailing out homeowners? Should it be balancing out the resources of the country in a way that the stronger help the weaker? Or are we more into this kind of Darwinian, leave it to the markets, almost quasi-theological view that are held by members of the right wing of the Republican Party, which is the less government, the better, leave it to businesses, they'll take care of everything, thank you.
The odd moment this week comes from the president himself, who in a karaoke moment in Harlem gave a sultry rendition of Al Green.
And then to know that Reverend Al Green was here. I'm so in love with you.
Now, this might just be me, and given the volatility of politics right now, it might not be true this time next week. But for the time being at least, there seems to be a little bit more swagger to President Obama at the moment. We'll see you next week following the results in Florida.